2 days until Christmas. Tomorrow's Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve was once my favorite day of the year. Not Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. I've always been someone that loves the anticipation. Trust me, I love what I'm anticipating as well. But once what you're anticipating starts, it's on its way to ending. When you're anticipating it, it hasn't happened yet. So it still exists in the realm of possibility. As a small child, it was Christmas Eve that I loved the most. When I woke up on Christmas Day, on Essex Street as a child, and all through my life, everywhere I've celebrated Christmas, my excitement was tinged with sadness and maybe a hint of dread. Maybe I didn't get everything I asked Santa for in the early days. I'm not where I want to be at this Christmas in my older days. What if the girls don't like what I bought them in those days? Oh God, another Christmas. Currently, since Molly died. But Christmas Eve was different. I haven't even acknowledged Christmas Eve since Molly died. And that's primarily because initially I couldn't even fathom looking forward to anything. Anticipation of something in a positive way, no thanks. I was in brick to the face grief for a long time after Molly died. After my job loss as well, Christmas was tricky. But the beauty of anticipating Christmas was what I loved the most. Last minute wrapping, visiting relatives, watching a movie. It was organizing Santa's gifts under the tree. All of it was what I loved the most. So here we are now, 2025, Christmas number 10 without Molly. That's hard to wrap my head around sometimes. Christmas number 5 with Jack. I don't know how I'm feeling because I'm recording this on December 9th. A year ago from today was our first full day in Bali. In this recent podcast episode, or this current podcast episode, of which this one, number 225, I'm in the middle of a spilling the tea season where I'm telling the real story about these horrifyingly bad things that have happened to me. And I'm beginning to get into my job loss and the whole situation around the medical malpractice lawsuit with two people who I thought were my friends, Robin and someone I'll call Laura. And so, in talking about those things, it's easy for me to dump my rage into my storytelling. I've also talked a lot recently about how angry I am, and I'm angry. So since recording the last episodes and listening to them after I've recorded them and going through lots and lots of daytime activities that illustrate and support all the reasons I'm angry, I had a bit of an epiphany that I'm trying to change the wrong things. 2 weeks ago, when I introduced Paul Brogan and talked about some of those things, I talked about how, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome was befuddling to me because I felt like I was changing. And then I acknowledged I don't even know what to change. And then I contemplated that post from my newfound friend, Pat Lena, who mentioned HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. And then I looked at the reality of some of the situations I'm in. CrossFit and where I coach and where I work out and the time I put into that. The Molly B Foundation and the activities I do and the ways I seek to fundraise and what I put into that. A lot of the money I spend, and is that really what I need to be doing to have success in what I'm doing? School board and trying to recreate something that can't exist in the current reality. All I can do is recreate myself. My living situation and how distressingly unorganized I am. I feel like an utter failure. As I approach Christmas Eve and my anticipatory, yay, it's Christmas Eve, and all of the days on the Advent calendar leading up to Christmas, it's been a pretty hard self-examination, but the only thing I can change is myself, or alter, or reconfigure, or look at differently, or step back from, whatever it is. So I thought, okay, let's take the podcast out of my hands for a minute, and what would make sense to talk about the day before Christmas Eve, into year 10 of my long rest of my life without Molly. What would be helpful to the people who listen and maybe could get new people to listen? And now I'll be talking about how I navigate Christmas without Molly. In the theme of my life, the more things change, the more they stay the same. I recently found a journal that I'm holding up. It's called Me, a Personal Journal. And what I liked about it when I bought it was there were little lines to fill out. You didn't just have to free write. I loved it. So, each entry has the date, the day, the time, the weather, what's in the news, what's going on in my family and friends, what am I excited about? And when I first started keeping it, I had wonderful things to be excited about. Now, this was before Gracie was even born. This was around the time I lost Gordy. So I was looking forward to Mother's Day. I'm excited about track ending and school ending. I'm excited about my body. Interesting. I'm excited about track and how the girls are doing. I'm excited about going to Jersey this weekend. Gordy and Nancy are a blast, and the shore is, well, the shore. I'm excited about Ember, Meredith, Marcel, Rachel, and the 4x8 making states. I'm excited about my still flat tummy, being so happy with Kenny, getting my house organized. I'm excited about cross country, finding out results from the amnio and heart stuff. So I was pregnant with baby Gordy at this time, long before the bad news came. And then the journal stops because the bad news came. And at a time when I should be writing in a journal, I stop. So I've started using it again. And the I'm excited about part is blank. Nothing. I write the word nothing. I'm not excited about anything. And I have little Jack. I should be excited about 100 things. But I have a very hard time acknowledging excitement about anything. Welcome to the world of a grieving mother. So as I record this, I'm 5 days away from speaking in front of a church full of people. The Compassionate Friends, which is a worldwide rather, group for parents and grandparents that have lost children and siblings, families who have lost children. It was started in England by two families who realized they got the most comfort from each other because they understood the depths of their pain. Now an international group, primarily online, although there are in-person chapters. It was founded long before the internet was so easily used. There are local chapters and national chapters and international chapters. And December 14th, I believe it's the second Sunday in December, is Worldwide Candlelighting Day. And at 7 o'clock on that Sunday night, starting in New Zealand, because that's where it is the first Sunday in December at 7 p.m. first. Depending on your time zone, you light a candle at 7 o'clock. And the theory is candles are lit for 24 hours. They're being lit every hour for 24 hours around the world. The mission of the Compassionate Friends is a self-help organization offering friendship, understanding, and hope to bereaved families that have experienced the death of a child, grandchild, or sibling. And the mission is, when a child dies at any age, the family suffers intense pain and may feel hopeless and isolated. The Compassionate Friends provides highly personal comfort, hope, and support to every family experiencing the death of a son or a daughter, a brother or a sister, a grandchild, and helps others better assist the grieving family. So what I like about this is it's not just a place to go be sad. That's part of it. But it becomes a service organization. And I do remember in the weeks and months right after losing Molly, the greatest support I received was from other people who had lost children, who reached out and let me know they were available to me. Whether or not I responded, they reached out. And they were the people who have never and remain, who are never offended when I fall back on a commitment, when I change my mind at the last minute, when I say, yes, I will, then no, I won't, or I can't. It's an amazing reality and a sad reality. A wonderful friend of mine, Deb, has asked me several times to speak at this event, the in-person celebration, and I've said no again and again. And she reached out and asked me to do it, and I said yes. So as I record this, I have not yet spoken. I haven't written my talk. I haven't done any of it. I will. It will all come to me. But as you're hearing it, I've done it. So I hope I did a good job. But what I'm thinking about now and what I want to share now is coping with the holidays during grief, or being grief-stricken during the holidays, or 10 Christmases in, still hating Christmas because your kid's dead. This topic is huge. When I asked my good friend Siri to give me some websites, hundreds popped up. This is not a new topic. However, I also know that not everyone is strong enough at any given moment to go online and read these websites and listen to the words, and some people don't even use the computer. I spoke a couple of weeks ago about Louis Cartier and how all I could think about was his mom after her son died in that school shooting. That she woke up that day with a boy that went off to school or went out of the house. She went to bed that night not knowing if he would live, and went to bed the next night with a dead child. That was 1985. There was no phone to scroll. There was no online meeting to sit and watch via Zoom or YouTube. There was nothing except somebody who might reach out to offer you an in-person meeting. I don't know how much compassion Louis's mother received, and that is what stuck with me the most in reliving that horrible day. So I found a nifty little theme, little website called Coping with Grief During the Holidays. It was put together by a hospice organization in Washington County. It guides the reader through what it's like to grieve during the holidays. So before I start, I want to start with a quote, because in my grief journey, I know that sometimes I read about how people grieve and I can't imagine doing it that way. It goes against everything I did in my grief journey. But I truly have not one iota of criticism or judgment or, disparagement, because I understand the loss and I understand exactly why those people are doing what they do. I feel that I receive the same thing from other bereaved parents. I'm very open with my grief. I say it like it is. I put it out there because for me, getting it out of my head stops it from yapping at me in my head. The more stuff I keep inside, the more it talks to me in my head. That's why I don't stay still. That's why I don't do yoga. I don't want to hear what I have to say. But one of the biggest things in grief, and I talk about this all the time with my picket fence analogy, is that dark, despairing, horrifying sadness can coexist at the very same time with unbelievable, miraculously wonderful joy. They do, they coexist. So in looking at David Kessler's book, The Sixth Stage of Grief, which is finding meaning after you're mad and angry and denying and bargaining and crying and accepting, then you have to, once you've done all that 55 times, you sort of become ready to find meaning in it. It does not mean you're okay with it. And this is, again, that juxtaposition of accepting the death and accepting all the wonderful things that have happened in the wake of the death, while at the same time being willing to give it all back to have your loved one back. Here's the quote, and it's in chapter 4, and the chapter is called The First Step in Finding Meaning. In the depths of winter, so right now here in New Hampshire, in the depths of winter, I finally learned that within me lay an invincible summer. In the depths of winter, I finally learned that within me lay an invincible summer. Albert Camus said that. Finding meaning. How the hell do you find meaning in anything? Well, you want to answer the why. And what I've learned in losing Molly is there is no answer to why. Why is a speculative question. Why can be asked again and again and again after every answer. Why is infinity. You can ask it for infinity and never get the answer you need. Which leads me to believe that sometimes we're not supposed to get those answers, that really what we're supposed to do is look at what happened to us and accept that this happened to us and figure out a way to carry it along in all of our activities. This little website here gives an overview of the grief process, which is essentially grief is a normal process reacting to a loss and how we internalize our pain. We grieve a lot of things. Christmas night is a grieving night for me. It's all over. There's nothing to look forward to now for another whole year. I grieve the loss of Christmas Eve. Grief impacts us emotionally, mentally, behaviorally, socially, physically, and spiritually. I have suffered in all those ways. I have cried uncontrollably and been angry. I've been utterly depressed and anxious. I have done things like not bathed in my bathroom for months and months. I went to the Y to take showers. I lost friends. I hibernated. I recreated a social group. I ate unhealthy. I gained weight. I took a lot of drugs. I drank a lot of alcohol. So physically, I was not okay. I aged overnight. And spiritually, what was God thinking when he thought this was what needed to happen? The other thing about grief, even though there are the 5 stages of grief, it doesn't occur in stages. The stages overlap and they're jumbled, and it's like a bubbling pot of spaghetti sauce where every time a bubble bursts, the sauce gets sprayed onto the wall. It's like grease on a frying pan that you can stand 10 feet away from and still get burned. Grief makes no sense. And I really think it isn't supposed to, because it's its own mechanism. It's a being all by itself. There are also no time limits on it. There just aren't. When people say, wow, you're still so sad all this time later, or don't you think a lot of time has gone by to be acting this way? Those words are uttered by people that either have no clue, have never suffered a loss of this magnitude, or have issues with their own grief and need to project it onto me. That's how I feel about that. Everyone has their own unique grief journey. And this is my favorite part of it. If I have to have a favorite part of grief, is that I can sit in a room of 10 moms who have lost babies, who suffer and manage their grief completely differently and absolutely connect with every single one of them. So then we use the word tasks of grief. And the word TEAR is the acronym here. To accept the reality of loss. So that first, accepting that happened, That has to happen almost immediately. And it took me a couple of weeks, really. I think the first time I really truly accepted that happened was when we drove home from the hospital without her. Like we were home in our house and she wasn't there. And Gracie brought the blankets down and we slept on the living room floor. That was my first day of realizing that Molly was never coming back. Experience the pain of loss. So here's a unique thing that I've noticed before, and I've talked about it before. People try so hard to get me to stop being sad, to stop being angry, to stop crying. No one ever tells me to stop being happy or to stop laughing. Well, and that's because I'm easy to be around when I'm happy and laughing. But if I'm sad or angry or scared or upset or depressed or crying or raging, being told to stop is incredibly insulting because if I'm feeling it, I need to feel it. And one of the biggest things I've learned in my own grief is to honor what's the feelings that come up and to express them. And the way I express them has changed quite a bit, but I still have to do that. So accept the reality of loss, experience the pain of loss, adjust to the new environment. I'm still adjusting to my new environment, quite frankly. I'm still trying to figure it out. Jack is a fantastically beautiful distraction because I'm creating a reality for him, which is a direct reflection on my loss of Molly. So I have to adjust to it. This is how I live now. This is my life, and this is my life. There it is. And then reinvest in the new reality. Reinvest in a new reality. Reinvest. I'm reinvesting in reality, period. So I'm accepting it, I'm experiencing it, I'm adjusting it, and I'm reinvesting in the new reality. Because let me tell you, grief and the traumatic loss is a complete divestiture of everything you thought was real and everything you thought would happen and made sense. Then it says healthy grief work results in letting go of the pain. Okay, I'm sorry, let go? I'm not going to let go of Molly, right? Letting go was a really crappy phrase in my mind. And the website, when I first read it, I'm like, what? And I went to the next page and it says letting go? We never let go of a loved one who dwells in our heart. We don't. We don't let go of the loved one. But if we work hard on our grief, we can lessen the magnitude of the pain, not forever, because let me tell you, there are times that it's a brick in the face still, but not as much as it was initially. We begin the process of learning to live without our loved one. I'm much better at living without Molly 10 years in than I was 10 minutes in, where I didn't even know what to do. I had to be high or drunk to live without Molly. I couldn't do it sober for a long time. Letting go of the pain is what we're letting go of. We need to take the pain and move it over. I don't even know if I've really let go of it, but I'm not clutching it in my hand anymore. I've put it in a bag. And then sometimes I'm even able to put the bag down, although it's never out of my sight. That's incredibly difficult. And of course, holidays bring all this stuff back up because it's a time that society tells us we're supposed to be happy. Religion tells us we're supposed to be happy. We're supposed to be celebrating the birth of Jesus. That's supposed to be a happy thing. It's very hard to be happy about anything, even the birth of Jesus, when you're feeling this way. So then it reinforces the fact that all of this grief work takes time. It might take several years to adjust to a new life without your loved one, and even more time to work through your emotions. What you do with your time or with the time matters. So let me say, don't tell me what to do with my time or how to manage my time or how to time my grief. I get very pissy and defensive about that. And that's what this is saying. We do not get over the loss of our loved one. We don't get over grief. It ebbs and flows. It changes over time. It comes and goes. I do know that when I'm feeling relatively well, I try to do things that build upon the wellness, that build upon my happiness and my health, that build upon my choices, so that when the bad times hit, I'm better prepared for them. I was the bad times in the beginning. And of course, they list all the unhealthy ways to deal with your pain: alcohol, drugs, medications, excessive eating, excessive sleeping, excessive shopping and spending, basically using anything you can to avoid, numb, or stuff the painful feelings, providing temporary relief. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, you know what? Sometimes any and all of these things are necessary. Sometimes the pain is too much that you have to do something to stuff it. The hope is that the things that you do to stuff and numb the pain don't become as big a problem as the pain. Getting addicted to drugs. I spent a long time very, very wrapped up in illicit drug use after Molly died. 2 years, a solid 2 years. I don't ever want to go back there. Oh, I don't ever want to feel that way ever again. Never. But I also know that at the time, in the times that I was sober, at the times that I wasn't using the coke, at times that I wasn't so high that nothing hurt, I was able to manage it, in part because I knew at 5 o'clock I could have the drink, and in 3 or 4 days I'd connect with Doug and get high again. That's how that was. Was that healthy or positive? No. Did it slow down my grief journey? Probably. But I don't, I don't regret it in the way that people might think I should. And that's fine. You don't have to understand my grief journey. Sleeping, I find sleep to be an incredibly healthy way to avoid the pain. You're sleeping, your body can heal and relax and calm down. Yeah, if you sleep your life away, you're not living your life. But, there are people that sleep 20 hours a day in that first year, first couple of years. Go ahead, sleep 20 hours a day. Get people to take care of you so that you can sleep. I do know that I didn't overeat ever because I'm not big into eating to comfort myself, but all I ate for a couple of years was carbs, mac and cheese and croissants and danishes and donuts and bread. Oh God, I was carb happy. I was. So there are a couple of different ways that you can grieve. You can grieve intuitively and you can grieve instrumentally. So intuitive is like you're grieving with your feelings, your experiences, and demonstrative, like demonstrating your emotions. You're in touch with them. You seek a lot of support from others. You're verbal and you're open. And I would say for the most part, that's me, that I function from a place of feeling. However, instrumental grief is cognitive. So you're focusing on your thinking, your desire to control your feelings. You become a problem solver. You seek solitude, may confide in a few close friends. It's very physical and very closed. I have to honestly say, in terms of my own grief and sharing it and processing, I feel like I'm more intuitive. However, in my desire to control my environment or to help others or to put on a front, I feel like I did a lot of the instrumental strategies. Healthy coping includes expression, acknowledging the loss, crying, walking, creating, sharing, visiting grave sites or sacred spaces, talking with friends, establishing boundaries, taking care of yourself, accepting that others grieve differently, helping others. I think I've done all those things. When I look at myself, and I think specifically to Christmas, the first year we decided right after Molly died that we were not doing holidays, and we didn't. We didn't do Father's Day. We didn't do 4th of July. We didn't do anything. We did nothing. We did not do Halloween. We pulled our shades and put on TV and ignored it. We didn't do Thanksgiving. We were in Hawaii for Thanksgiving, so we got Thanksgiving food, but we didn't do any of it. We didn't do Christmas. We drove to Florida on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in 2017 and 2018. We drove to Florida, and 2019 actually. 2017 and 2018 we went to Davies. 2019 we went to Deb's apartment. 2020 we were home. That was the COVID year. Disney wasn't open. I was pregnant with Jack. Then 2021 Jack was a baby. Back to Disney. 2022 back to Disney. 2023 home, kitchen being remodeled. 2024 Bali, and here we are 2025 home. In terms of my grief, I definitely completely avoided Christmas for the first 3 or 4 years after Molly died. Our driving to Florida and then flying to Florida and just not being here and not setting up, not doing presents and none of it. We didn't decorate the house, none of it. And I know that was hard on Gracie, but she also really didn't want Christmas either. It was too hard to navigate. It was just too hard to do. With Jack, my fear in setting up traditions is that if something were to happen to Jack, it would be more traditions that were just lost. So how has my grief over losing Molly affected Jack's life? Birthdays and holidays are whatever that year happens to bring. There's not some big list of expectations. There's not something that happens all the time every year. We just don't do it. We've been doing our Elf on the Shelf. Mark has shown up every year since Jack has arrived. And so I suppose that's a tradition that we've done. And it's wonderful for Gracie and I to do that together. It's helpful. Holidays suck. They just do. And you're allowed to say it. They can also be great. So sometimes we try to ignore the sadness, which is what we did for 4 years going to Disney. Sometimes we eliminate the holiday celebration altogether. We did the same. That's what we did. We went to Disney. Others attend events even though they know they might dissolve into tears. So that wasn't us so much. I think we started back with Thanksgiving first. We didn't do Halloween in any form at all until Jack was old enough to understand trick-or-treating, and then up to Auburn Street we've gone. And we've made it fun, and we include Gracie, so it feels almost like a continuation of something. So as much as I love the anticipation, I started this episode with talking about how much I love the anticipation. For one who is grieving, anticipation of the holiday, anniversary, or other special day is usually far worse than the day itself. And I would have to say that is relatively true. When March comes and I start dreading March because April and birthdays and then Gracie's birthday and Amsterdam memories and then Death Day and ER Day. And I just, And once I get through it, I can honestly say, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It changes year to year as well. Three things that this website tells us to keep in mind that I've said a million times to myself and to others. So, three things: acknowledge your pain. Don't stuff it. Don't apologize for it. Say it. I am angry. I'm hurt. I'm uncomfortable. I'm sad. Share it. You don't have to walk around stuffing it. It's not your job to make sure everybody else is happy. I need to tell myself this over and over again. When people reach out to offer support, I'm quick to say no, thank you. Sometimes it's nice to say thank you. I have people that I have an easier time accepting help from than others, which is interesting. I don't know why that is, and I don't question that part of it. But I'm able to take help from some people and not others. And again, you don't have to mask it or hide it. So number one is acknowledging your pain. Number two, take charge of your life. So this is where I'm at right now. So I have these things going on, like things I want to do and things I'm trying to make happen and things I'm worrying about. And all I can do is me. And so I've sat back and given myself some perspective. So it says, don't leave things to chance. So I have a couple of school board things coming up and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to leave this to chance. I'm not. Decide in advance what you would like to do and with whom. I don't like to make plans because then I feel this pressure that I have to hold myself up to them when it comes to socializing. However, I do know that when I have something in my calendar, I'm ready for it when it arrives. And it's better for me to be organized that way. What you want to do versus what you believe others expect you to do. This is big. Have a plan B, an exit strategy or a break strategy. This is such good advice. Such good advice. And oftentimes when I say yes to things, so my friend Deb, who I've talked about a lot, she invited me to a concert. It was Stevie Nicks. Like, now I wish I went. But at the time, I could not do it. And part of it was the timing of it. I think it was a weeknight and it was in Boston. And she said, look, I'm inviting you. And if you can't come, my sister can. And she'll be ready to go. And she won't be sad if she can't go because she knows that she's doing it for me. That's a plan B. There's a great book called Plan B that all of you should read. It's about a woman who goes on vacation and she's out running or doing something. And she goes back to the hotel room and her husband has died. And then her whole life is now plan B. Like, this is not how life was supposed to be. So and then communicate with others. Let people know how you're feeling. Then number three, think realistically and positively. Thoughts and emotions. Realistic and positive. I have a hard time with positive sometimes, but if I'm realistic with myself and my own expectations, I can think positively. I do okay. Be patient. Lower your expectations. Set limits on who you spend time with and what you do with them. Say no. Consider trying something new. That's been our mojo. And we're home this Christmas and Gracie's here. So, we just we put the garland and the lights on the railing. That's all we've done for Christmas decorations. And Mark has shown up. We're thinking we'll put up a fake tree in the living room. Usually we always get a real tree, but why not a fake one? So we have these kinds of things coming up. Be patient and kind with yourself, but also be patient and kind to those who may be unaware of your death or unaware of how you're feeling. Some people are more intuitive than others. It's not their fault they don't get how I'm feeling. I find too, when I express anger, I'm oftentimes super angry at myself. Be patient with those who are uncomfortable or don't know what to say. I'm always really good about that. I don't care. I'd rather have people say the wrong thing than say nothing, which is backwards for some people. I'd rather thank someone for the effort than wonder why they didn't talk to me. Think ahead to responses of Happy Holidays or Merry Christmas or Happy New Year. So here's an example for me. Last night at a school board meeting, all the members were chatting about what are good presents to give to somebody, and everyone wanted to share a really good idea for a present. And I just politely said, it's a hard time of year for me. I haven't given or received gifts since Molly died, so I'd rather not take part. And they were fine with it. And a couple of people went to comfort me, and I said, no, I'm not seeking comfort here. I'm just stating my reality. Thank you, appreciate it, but I'm good. I'm not looking for theirs. And then there are some coping suggestions here. So I know for me, my coping suggestions were just to do what I want to do and really to step away from it. My family is fantastic, and I've hosted our family Christmas party for years, a couple of decades. In the years after Molly died, I stopped. I couldn't do it. Even if I was here, I couldn't do it. Last year, when we came back from Indonesia, we hosted a holiday party because it hadn't happened. So it was in January. It was away from Christmas. It was much easier to do. My family was fantastic. The first year, they made a quilt, and everyone wrote a note on their square and drew pictures. It was fantastic. I have the best family when it comes to supporting my Molly grief. So some of these coping suggestions make my skin crawl, but they might be helpful for you. Play music or movies in memory of your loved one. Right now, I don't want to do anything in memory of Molly on Christmas. I just don't. And if I am doing something that reminds me of her, I'm just going to leave it at that. That's just me. I can't stand the whole I'm doing this in memory of Molly. Let the Molly memories present themselves. Share favorite stories and photos and funny memories. Light a candle or say a prayer. Show everyone it's okay to say your loved one's name. This I do all the time. Give a gift of a photo, a scrapbook, commemorative items. That might be to somebody else. Place a gift box under the tree for your loved one or hang up a stocking with their name on it. Those are all, none of those things jump out at me. That's just me. So then there's some discussion questions here, and these are always fascinating to me. So which winter holiday traditions do you want to keep? Well, I do like the lights, decorating our yard, and I think as Jack grows up, he's my motivation for maintaining those. I do not care if we always celebrate Christmas at home. I don't want to make a big tradition of what Christmas Day is like. I would just rather see what each year brings and leave it at that. We've never gotten together really as a family on Christmas, a little bit, but not much. It was really just our immediate family and my mom, and she lives here now, so that'll be different. Which ones do you want to change? So I haven't taken out our traditional Christmas decorations since Molly died. This is the 10th Christmas now without them. And I have some beautiful decorations. At some point, I think I'll be ready to take those out. It's not now. The house is too chaotic and messy. I'm not ready for that. Are there traditions you feel you must complete no matter how difficult? No, I've never felt compelled to complete anything at all. I think if we live life as it comes, then that's the tradition, to just take a breath and do what seems right at the time. Are there any new traditions? No, see, I don't want traditions. And this is me, and maybe in 5 years from now I'll feel differently, but traditions are just things that are lost when someone dies. So I'd rather it just all be different so that I won't have my first Christmas without my next loss thinking, oh, they're not here, so now we have to do this without them. No. I'm done with that. I'm just done with that. As I culminate on loss, I will say in my own personal journey, because I'm an adult, I had a lot of support on social media and a lot of access to grief groups and such. Gracie did not. Children are the invisible grievers in the child loss reality. I think mothers come first, then I think dads come next, then I think grandparents arrive, and then siblings, especially young siblings. I think adult siblings have all the access and abilities and opportunities that adults have. Children don't. They're dependent upon the adults in their lives. It didn't take me long to realize that what Gracie needed was the mother that she had before Molly died. And of course, that mother died with Molly. But I had a good therapist, and I got Gracie into therapy first. That was like my initial thing. I did not do a good job of it. Let me be clear. I'm not patting myself on the back for being this amazing mother in grief. But I did know that she needed me and that I couldn't mother my dead child and not mother my live one as well. And so I had to take care of Gracie. And I made a lot of decisions, did a lot of things with her in mind. I did a lot of horrible things that were not at all helpful to her. She didn't know about half of them, but I got up out of my bed at 10 o'clock every night, left her on that floor and went out for hours. I was either driving or drinking or smoking or doing something horrible. I was not okay. But I was in that bed when she woke up and went through the day, helped her pack her lunch, got her to school, just all the things that she needed. I was not the mother she had before Molly died. I'm still not that mother. Her dad isn't that dad. Her nanny isn't that nanny. None of us are the same. We can't be. And I know that in that journey, her needs have not always been met. If there is something, any of you listening that have lost a child or are in a family that's lost a child, check on the siblings, especially if they're children. Children are resilient, blah, blah, blah. Okay, they're resilient, but they're also tender and they have no clue what to do. In trying to make sense of this new reality, they go back to what they've always done. I want to go to school. They don't really want to go to school, but they want to be someplace that feels normal. And so school feels normal until it doesn't, right? I'm always super grateful for foundations like Friends of Anya here in New Hampshire. That's a foundation just for dealing with grief for kids. The Moyer Foundation in Camp Erin, where Gracie went. Outward Bound does a program for young people who have lost a sibling. There are amazing, amazing opportunities for kids to manage grief. In my running of the Molly B Foundation up to now, it's just been primarily providing financial support for kids that want to participate in theater. And I'm really going to make a shift right now to really seek out families that have suffered loss and connect them with local theater opportunities in their towns. Not necessarily creating theater opportunities for children specific to grief, but making sure to connect, being a connector for those kids in their communities to programs that might help them feel better. And perhaps creating materials and curriculum for theater companies and children's theater programs that address how theater is helpful in the process of healing and emotional trauma, etc. I actually think, given all of the COVID stuff, this would be great material to have now. I know for me, what cured me of my child abuse, not cured me, but helped me, was running and physical, learning to love my body and be okay in my body. And I know when Molly died, CrossFit was a life-saving mechanism for me, the community, but also the movement, moving my body. manipulating weights and throwing wall balls and jumping onto boxes, all of those things. And I know when Gracie started CrossFit, it became a lifeline for her. And we both continue it because that's where it is. So you hear this Christmas Eve. So if you are someone in a family that's lost a child, I'm so sorry. I wish it wasn't true for you. I wish it wasn't true for me. It will suck. Christmas will suck and Christmas will be beautiful all at the same time. And if you can open your heart to that reality, I'm doing a little heart hand here. Each half of the heart, straddle that picket fence, straddle it with pride. There's nothing we can do to change the reality of our life. All we can do is change how we live in the reality of our life. With all those little acronyms like TEAR and HALT and all that kind of stuff. We can just look in the mirror and take care of ourselves. So I'm here anytime. Sign up for my email list or find me on social media and reach out with a message. I've never not answered one, ever. And I will connect with you as best I can. It's all I can do. If I start a new Christmas tradition in my life after Molly, it's making sure that I'm available on Christmas for anyone that needs it. Because there's a lot of us that need it. That's for sure. So this wasn't really a spilling the tea episode. It was in the sense that sometimes I really suck at grief and sometimes I'm okay. I'm reminded of what I don't like and what makes me bristle. And I'm reminded of what I embrace and seek to internalize. So in this holiday season, this Christmas Eve, be good to yourself. Be good to yourself. Do one little thing Christmas oriented that makes you feel good. Or do one little thing that has nothing to do with any stupid holiday and be good to yourself that way. Be good to someone else. Send someone a text or a phone call message or an emoji. Stop by with cookies or send a gift or a card, whatever it is. And as always, have a good day, everybody, and happy holidays. Hey, thanks for listening and supporting the podcast. Feel free to leave a review and share my stories with your friends. Please reach out with your own stories, as I love connecting with my listeners. If you would like to get to know Molly, head over to mollybfoundation.org to see what she is all about. If you want to see what I'm up to next, you can find me on Instagram at barb_444, on Facebook as Barb Higgins, and at my website, 1000tinysteps.com. And while you're there, sign up for my newsletter, a weekly way to find out what's up in the life of Barb Higgins.